Hello and welcome to my SAT Prep Strategy videos. These videos are not for sale and should not be sold to or by anyone for any reason. You can use these videos in your classroom or your school district for free. Just please let me know that you are doing so, and just so I can see how far my videos are reaching. So without further ado, here we go. So we're going to start with a general strategies video and a brief overview of how the SAT is scored and what that means for you in terms of getting the score that you want. I'm not going to go into explicit detail or in-depth detail about the components of the test and how they all fit together, because honestly, if you're watching this video, you're hopefully just thinking about, I want to get a good score. How can I do that? Now, what is a good score? I'm based in Michigan, so what I do is every year I look at the universities of Michigan and I research all this information about the schools. So when one of my students asks me, I really want to go to Eastern Michigan University, what do I need? I can say, well, you need about 1,100 on the SAT. That is their average score. So then I can work with the kid and say, all right, what are you at now? How can we get to the 1,100 to give you a good shot? Or if your GPA is lower than the numbers I found here, then we got to get this SAT score higher than that to make your chances a little bit better to make up for this GPA that isn't in their average range. Or are you someone who says, hey, I want to go to University of Michigan Ann Arbor, where one website said the score was 1,366, another website said 1,450. Now, these are just averages that I found from different websites. It is no mean a guarantee saying, oh, I got a 1,450, I'm going to get in. It also doesn't mean, oh, I don't have a 1,450, I have a 1,200, I'm not going to get in. That isn't necessarily the case. So these are just kind of guidelines to go by to see, all right, if I can get the scores that we have listed here, then I stand an average shot at getting in. Now these scores are like in the 20 range. This is when we used to do the ACT in Michigan. I just kind of updated this chart to include the SAT scores as well. So you really just need to go to Google, type in average SAT score for Wayne State, and see what other websites are reporting their average score is. And that way you can see where you need to be, because you may already be at the score that you need to get into that university, or you could be further away. So once you figure out what kind of score you want, it's important to know that the SAT is scored differently than most tests that you've taken. Generally, on the SAT, a 50% is a decent score. Okay, a 50% is usually about 1,000 points on the SAT. Normally, a 50% in any school class, you're failing at that point. So this is how we can score the test right here. This is from the College Board, from their SAT Practice Test 1. So they look at how many questions you get right, then they go over here and plug these numbers into this table down here to get your average score, or not your average, your total score. So the math test has 58 questions. Half of that is 29. You're at a 520. Okay, there are 52 English questions, 52 reading questions. Half of that is 26. So 26 right on the reading test gives you a reading score of 25. For the language and writing, half of the test questions right is 22, which will give you a score of 24. So how this is calculated is you'll take this 24 from your language and writing, take the 25 from the reading, add that together to get 49, and then they multiply that 49 by 10 to get 490. Then they'll take that math score of a 29 for getting half the math right, and they'll write that here. So 520. 520 plus 490 is 1,010. So getting a 50% on this practice test 1 will give you a score of 1,010. So once you've realized that is part of the test, where you don't need to get every single question right, or even like an 80% or a 90% to get a good score. 50% was at a 1,010, and Eastern Michigan's average is 1,100. So just by getting 50%, you're in striking distance to Eastern Michigan University, and you're in the range for University of Michigan Dearborn just by getting 50%. So get that down first. Do not worry about getting every single question right. Just worry about getting a majority of them right. So then what are some strategies that we can use? One strategy is to actually cross off the answers. It seems silly that if we're looking at a practice test here and you know the answer is not B, take your pencil and actually cross off choice B. Get rid of it, because then your brain no longer registers that this is an option. Your brain just sees 3 options now instead of 4. Even if you know it's not an answer, just take your pencil, cross it off. The test booklets are there for you to draw, write, scribble all over. So when I work with my students in class, I expect to see markings all over their booklets, all over their packets, all over their tests, just because to me, it shows that they're trying, that they're listening to my instruction, and that they're really getting the best score that they could. So cross off wrong answers. Also, never leave an answer choice blank. The SAT, you don't see anything in the score chart down here about wrong answers. You do not lose points for giving wrong answers. So it's in your best interest to answer every single question, even if you've never even read it yet or have gotten to it. This is what your answer sheet will look like. When you take the real test, it might be a little bit more condensed, but it's going to look something like this. If we're at the reading test and you only get to question 36, you lose nothing by guessing on the rest. Now, a lot of times people say, well, what should I guess? The basic strategy is to guess the same answer straight down. Now, everyone's going to argue, well, you're not going to get them all right. Yeah, of course you're not going to get them all right. And if you jump around, you're not going to get them all right either. But by guessing the same answer straight down, you are almost guaranteed to get some questions right. And the only reason I say almost guaranteed is because if you get to like question 48 and you guess A straight down for 49, 50, 51, and 52, yeah, there may not be the answer choice A in those last 4 questions. But I can guarantee you if you had like the last column here, 40 to 52, and you guessed A straight down, you're going to get a couple of those right guaranteed. If you jump around, you're very likely to get none of them right because you're just randomly guessing. If we look at the answers for the reading test here, if you look at any 10 questions, okay, 1 through 10, you see every answer choice. In this column, you see every answer choice. Same thing, in every column, every answer choice appears at least once, even 45 through 52. C is only given there once, but every answer choice is here. So what I tell kids to do is when they're looking at their answer sheet and they're running out of time, quickly just look and see what answer choice seems to be used less. So they get to question number 39 or 40 and they say, you know what, I don't see a lot of C's. I'm not asking them to count and say I have this many A's, this many B's, this many C's, this many D's. Just quickly look at your answer sheet and see, all right, which one does it seem like I've used the least of? And then guess that one straight down. Because mathematically, there should be about an equal number of A, B, C, and D's. Not exactly equal, but roughly the same amount. If we look at the answers for this reading test, I've already counted. There are 13 A's, 15 B's, 12 C's, and 12 D's. So almost equal. The most was B with 15, and the lowest was 12 with C and D. But out of 52 questions, there's only a difference of 3 between the most used and the least used. So that's why I tell students to do that, is to just quickly look and go guess that one straight down. Because you get a 5-minute warning near at the end of the test. that's when you should start paying attention to see, okay, which answer choice have I used the least? And then keep that in mind. Don't stop working at 5 minutes, but once that 5-minute warning is given, just be mindful at that point. Another thing that you need to pay attention to is the charts and graphs. If we look at this chart and graph here, well, just a graph, from 1312 to 1424, look at all these graphs go up, increasing. So if a question asks you about this, you're inclined to say, oh, the depth is the graph is increasing. The numbers are going up. But if you look over here, actually, the graph going up means you're getting closer to the surface, so your depth below sea level is actually going down. Okay, so if a question is asking about when is the depth of sea level increasing, a lot of kids will look at this and say, oh wait, yeah, the graph is increasing here, so the depth is increasing. But if you look at the key over here, no, the depth below sea level is actually decreasing. Or sorry, depth below surface is actually decreasing as a graph is going up. So you need to be very careful of what is going on over here with the keys for the graph and the legend down here. Okay, so this was just a quick overview of some basic strategies and just trying to get you guys, kind of feeling comfortable with the test. My main thing was do not worry about getting every question right. That was the main point of this video. Don't worry about that. Also, guessing the same answer straight down. I have kids who still don't do that. They still don't believe me about that, and they tend to do poorly. So just do that, same answer straight down, and really pay attention to these graphs, as they're going to be appearing a lot. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you got a little bit something out of it. Stay tuned for my next videos, where I'm going to go into each subject test a little more in depth and show you some tips and tricks about each of those tests specifically. So thanks for watching. Bye.